My definition of productive is doing those few things that have the most impact on your overall goal or your bigger picture. Whereas busyness is when we try to do all the things, right? We try to do everything and usually all at the same time.
Welcome to the Productive Introvert Community podcast, helping ambitious introverts who feel deep down that they can add more value to the world to really thrive in their work. I'm Mariela Franker, and I'll be sharing what I'm learning as an introverted entrepreneur, a natural productivity coach, and a mom while I build my business online and take care of my family and myself. In this podcast, you'll learn the mindset and the practical steps to naturally increase the impact of your work while making space for your unique strengths as an introvert.
Hi, it's Mariela. Spring is in the air. I can feel it. Okay, one of the big misconceptions that we have around productivity and getting things done is we often confuse busyness with being productive. And I just want to clarify that those two things are not the same thing. Recently, I spoke to David and I did an interview with him for his podcast, the Quiet and Strong podcast, especially for introverts. And Dave asked me, what's your definition of productive? So my definition of productive is doing those few things that have the most impact on your overall goal or your overall bigger picture, right? So what that exactly is very different for everyone. And with a little bit of a side note there, not everyone has a very clear big picture. Okay, I want to also mention that there are different working styles and different habit styles, right? Everyone has their personal style. And through our coaching programs, both me and my mentor, we've seen that not everyone has that really crystal clear idea of that bigger picture. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that something's missing. It's just about connecting to those things that are important to you, however that shows up for you. For some people, it is a really clear vision. For other people, it's more of a feeling or an intention. Whereas busyness is when we try to do all the things, right? We try to do everything and usually all at the same time. This is also where the space of multitasking, right? And well, multitasking is actually a myth. No one can actually hold their attention on two separate things at the same time. What we're actually doing is switching really quickly between different things. So multitasking isn't really, it's more like multi-switching. You're training yourself to switch your attention between different things very quickly. If you think of it from a productivity standpoint, it may also not always be the best thing to train yourself in. Because when we think about that creation space, right, when we're creating something new or really working through complex ideas and we're building towards something, there's that element of focus. There's that element of deep work and coming back to the same thing over and over and building on it, which you can already feel. It has a very different feeling to it than that area of busyness and frantically doing things. Is that when we're busy, is when we have that frantic feeling. I can almost feel my heart rate rising as I'm talking about it. It's when you're frantically trying to get through your to-do list and running from one appointment to the other, feeling like you're putting out fires all over the place, you know. We all have those days, it's one of those days. But when you have one of those days, too many days in a row, that is a bit of a signal that it might be time to take a step back and to reassess, okay, what's happening here? What's going on? And do I still like the way things are going? So busy does not equal productive. So how do we get from that busy, frantic feeling to that productive flow when we're creating and connecting and feeling good about the things that we are actually getting done because we know it has an impact on whatever it is that we're trying to impact. Here are 3 of my favorite productivity boosters to help you stop being busy and to be productive instead. The first one is to identify and let go of fake conditionality. The second is leaving a thread. The third is creating habits and systems instead of relying on motivation. I talked about all 3 of these in previous episodes, but I thought I'd give a little bit of a collection here, just to give you a couple of ideas of things that you might want to try if any of these resonate with you. I'll link to those in the description if you want to dive a little bit deeper into these individual productivity boosters. If you've listened to those episodes the past couple of weeks, this may sound very familiar, but I thought it would be nice to kind of have this little summary. So the first one is to identify and let go of fake conditionality. One of the biggest reasons why people get stuck in their projects is because they create what I call fake conditionality. What's fake conditionality? It's when you tell yourself that you need to do this thing first before you can do this other thing. But if you look a bit closer, you'll see that those 2 things are actually separate actions. So yes, of course, each action can influence other actions, but they're rarely dependent on each other. I estimate that probably in 80% of the situations when I see people do this thing, there's no dependency at all. I use this example. I think I've used it before because I hear this so often. That people immediately think, I have this business idea. The first thing I should do is set up a website. Ask yourself that question. What is really my goal right now? Is it to create a website or is it to connect with potential clients? Because if you take a good look at those 2 things, they are not the same thing. They're not even dependent on each other. So yes, some people, they might ask for a website, but you can also just simply tell them that you don't have one yet and ask them to connect another way. And someone that I was talking with had a very good comment. She said, we kind of subconsciously sometimes create these barriers for ourselves that are not there. And I just want you to remember that there are many, many paths that lead to the same place. And creating fake conditionality is one of the things that can really, really keep you stuck. The second is one of my favorite productivity boosters that I use religiously almost is a simple habit that I call leaving a thread. Imagine it like a literal thread connecting your thoughts and ideas around a certain topic through time. It's like the thread of a story in a book. This works especially well when you're working different projects in parallel or when your projects span a long period of time. The main idea is that by leaving a thread that connects where you were to the next step that you want to take in a project, you always know what's the most important thing to do next, no matter how much time there's in between or how much life happens in between. The third productivity booster is creating habits and systems instead of relying on motivation. A lot of the time when we feel stuck, we think that motivation is a problem, and we either just sit there and we wait, feeling bad about it, and we wait for motivation or we wait for inspiration, and we procrastinate or overthink. Sometimes we overthink about what we should be doing. Or the opposite, we're all over the place, doing lots and lots of stuff, but never feeling like you're actually accomplishing anything. That's that busyness, right? Sometimes also overthinking. Hello. By now, I've written over 100 blog articles, emails over the past 2 years. Wow. And I'm not ashamed to admit, not particularly proud, but I'm not ashamed that in the 10 years before that, I had loads of ambitions to write and to start a blog, but very little published pieces to show for it. That's a big contrast. what I've learned through that process is that motivation is fleeting. Its role is to get us moving, not to keep us moving, right? Don't get me wrong, connecting with your deeper motivation is powerful. And I see that in my coaching programs when my clients they get this clarity about what they naturally excel at and what their deep drivers are. And it's like this missing puzzle piece that finally slots those surrounding pieces into place. And that's amazing. I mean, you can see like this feeling of expansion when this happens. But that's just what that is. Motivation is a piece of the puzzle. It's not the whole puzzle. So once you're motivated to get moving, the road to your dream life is to keep building towards it, which are other pieces of that puzzle. Nothing happens overnight. And so many dreams, they turn, unfortunately, into regrets if we don't commit to making them a reality. Habits and systems, they take over where the initial fuel of motivation trails off. And they help us to make things easy. So, where motivation helps us to get moving, habits and systems, they help us to keep going. So, when I say habits and systems, I don't necessarily mean having the same morning routine every day. Although that works really well for some people, it does not work well for all. And some people can actually feel stifled by something like that. So, if you feel like you're not able to get into a rhythm to build consistently towards the things that you find really important, then learning about your habit style and how to play into that can really be helpful to you. If you want to understand more about your personal process, your habit style, and how to build habits that are really a natural match for you, then I can help. Right now, I'm offering free calls to reveal your habit style. This probably won't be a call down the line, but right now I'm doing this really in a one-to-one call, and I will help you reveal your habit style. And we can also talk about a burning question that you have around how to connect that with whatever is hard for you right now. So if you want to take advantage of, well, that sounds horrible. If you want to get on a call with me, use the link in the description to schedule that call. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and let's talk again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Productive Introvert Community podcast. If you're an introverted entrepreneur and you're ready to thrive in your own way, then connect with me on thefrankermessage.com/contact.